Welcome to another episode of the Muffed Punt podcast. My name is Brandon, and tonight we have Terry and we have Paul. And you know what we're going to do this evening, gentlemen? I have a little something funny for you that we're going to queue up here in the beginning. Not necessarily funny, but just fun and not football related, just to kind of get us started. So Paul and I were talking about this a little while back, and I think he'll know what this is when I get this up here. But I have for our other podcast, Beyond Explanation, which Paul and I are going to start doing some side episodes on coming up here in a little bit, where we break down some TV stuff that we've been going through. But this is some very new, very recent, at the moment unedited UFO footage. And this is dropped on Jeremy Corbell's Twitter page. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Jeremy Corbell for one reason or another, and we'll get into that. That's a different podcast. But we can watch this video. So this is interesting because after a while, you can kind of see it splash down into the ocean. And I'll explain a little bit more on the other one that I have a little bit better. But did you see this one yet, Paul?
Yeah, I think we sat down and watched it like a week ago.
Yeah, that's right. Did you have any initial impressions on it?
No, but I mean, with this race between Branson and Bezos to get into space, it kind of seems like they're just trying to get up and meet with whoever's flying these things.
Yeah, right.
Whoever gets up there first gets the best deal. Some
intergalactic trade expo. They're going to try to get Amazon Prime on Mars. So this one I have parlays into this, which is just radar footage. This is like a ship that you have over on this side. And then these are some bogies that they had that were unidentified. And you'll see when this moves to a different thing that you'll actually see, like at one point there's like a crap ton of them. These are like different videos that have come out recently of guys just literally like recording these things and then posting them. They were talking about how it was interesting. Here it is. Do you see how many of them showed up? They were saying it was like they were basically being swarmed by these unidentified objects. This is one of the newer ones, which is the flying pyramid. I don't know if you guys caught this one.
I've seen that one.
Yeah.
This is going to bring whole new competition levels to the Miss Universe competition.
It took my brain a minute to catch up with where you went with that. But yeah, not aerodynamic really in any way, shape, or form. But this one was in, I think, Shanghai. It's hard to see because the quality of it's not the greatest. And I got this off of Reddit. But you'll see there's like a black flying triangle that's up in the sky. And they had said that it was just like a reflection of the building. It's up here. See it?
Yeah, right there in the center.
Yeah. And if you go on Reddit, you can find it from multiple angles. It's pretty interesting.
That one with the pyramid, wasn't that right at like a nuclear launch site?
You know what? I don't know all the ins and outs of it just about yet as to where they got it captured from. I just know it was like Navy guys, I think, for the most part.
I forget. I saw like a documentary maybe a couple years ago where they said that like there's like they always seem to have like a lot more activity around like these nuclear sites.
I think it's pronounced nuclear.
But it isn't.
Than anywhere else. Like it's always something with the military. Like they're checking in to make sure we're not going to blow each other all out. Pretty much. Like we might have to stop these assholes from killing themselves. Like, you know, come on.
You never know, man. You got to make sure that everybody's behaving themselves, I guess, to the best of their ability, right?
Yeah. Behaving themselves. You mean like my neighbors with all these fireworks going off that weren't just on the 4th of July? I'm gonna make their lives live in hell.
You gotta stop saying things when we're recording like that. What we were going to talk about today is that apparently XFL football has some news to drop, and Paul has that information for us. He was kind enough to get it before the show. So, Paul, lay it on me. What's this XFL news? I've been chomping at the bit.
Well, we've been kind of waiting to see what was going to happen with it. And XFL looks like they were going to somehow partner up with the CFL and then try to come back next year in 2022. Well, that has fallen apart. I don't know why. There's some kind of discrepancy going on between Canada and the United States, and they're all upset. Apparently they want Trump back, and we said no, and they're like, but come on, we want to be the best country in North America. I'm kidding. Anyway, no, but those negotiations have fallen through. So rather than come back in 22, the XFL is going to try to come back in 23, and the USFL is also trying to come back. I'd probably have to find some Canadians to see if the CFL is anything that they really pay attention to. Maybe it's huge up there. Maybe it's like the NFC least, where, you know, people are just committed to watching it because they always have, even though there's a better product that they could do if they just flip the channel a little bit. So maybe you guys are closer related. But personally, I think the USFL, the XFL, and the CFL, they all, if they want to compete and put a premier product out there, they've got to find a way to merge, work together, play in the spring so they're not competing with the NFL. Otherwise, I just feel like this is going to be like AA baseball, where it exists, but no one really watches it unless you go to the game.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you made there, Paul, that it maybe have the 3 different leagues compete and see if they can come out on top to have some kind of like ultimate minor league playoff, if you will. What college football kind of should do with their playoff system, maybe change it up a little bit to have like a real national champion. What do you think about that?
The NCAA is actually, they're voting on it pretty soon to change it to go from 4 teams to 12 teams. So
I think that's going to be amazing, like a March Madness for football.
I think so. And so many people are complaining about it, and I think that they should just shut up.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, it gives more teams that are potentially with good records at the end of the season that are in these smaller conferences or whatever. It'll give them an opportunity to at least play their way in.
Exactly. And I mean, that's the thing. Can you imagine the Boise State team that played Oklahoma and won, what was it, the Sugar Bowl that year or something?
Yeah, I think it was the Fiesta Bowl, maybe.
Fiesta Bowl, Sugar Bowl, one of the bigger bowls, but they got in. No one gave them a chance, and then they won on that hook and ladder. So I love that. And you have these teams like 3 years ago when Virginia lost to the 16 seed. Yeah, I mean, you're never going to get. I guarantee you that the kids that played on that team will never forget a second of that game.
Oh, for sure.
And that's what you get. That's the beauty of sports. And right now you're just shutting out. I mean, you weren't going to let in Coastal Carolina no matter what. BYU probably wouldn't have gotten in. And all the big talking heads are saying, well, Alabama just destroyed the number 3 team last year, so why do we need the top 12? Well, I mean, right now no matter what, you're leaving out a major conference champion, even if you only consider the top 5 conferences. And then you're never going to let in a smaller team. Like, you remember Central Florida, that undefeated team that they have? Well, They have something on their stadium where it calls them the national champions that year because they were the only team that went undefeated.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people from Florida wolfing crap that year.
This needs to happen. It needs to expand. You need to start letting in more teams. And it's a gold mine monetarily. And let's face it, when you look at the NCAA, all they care about is the dollar, and that's it. So you've got all these kids signing the NIL deals now. So you've got more kids that can make more money. It's
speaking of that, did you see Master P's son got $2 million like right after they could end up signing their own deals?
What do you get $2 million for?
I didn't see the specifics. I saw I'm guilty of headline reading. Sorry. I was getting ready for the show, but I literally that was the headline. It said Master P's son gets like $2 million. He plays football. It said he got $2 million like endorsement deal, like as soon as they were able to get their own money.
That's cool. I know that the quarterback out of Miami, Derek, is it Flowers? I can't remember his last name, but he said, the NCAA, we're so concerned. This is just going to tear teams apart. The kid from Miami in the first 12 hours signed 4 deals worth, I think it was close to $100,000 for those ones. And then he said to his teammates, hey, let's do team stuff. where we go and make appearances together, and then we split the money evenly between everyone on the team. So it's not going to tear teams apart. The only thing that they cared about, this is the last form of legal slavery that a business had. Can you picture any other businesses that make $100 million in a 4-month period and don't have to pay their employees?
But Paul, they got an education. They got room and board, and they had to pay to eat food, and I couldn't hand them a sandwich or a bagel with cream cheese. Like,
I hate the NCAA so much.
They're so full of shit and excuses. It's ridiculous. But
exactly,
the move into 12 makes a lot of sense, because it takes away the what ifs. Like, everybody wants to know, like, that's that UCF team. They were able to. I mean, they were like a scoring machine. They couldn't really stop anybody on defense, but you could at least see what they could do. Yeah. And like you said with the 1-16 matchup, yeah, okay, so we expect the 16 seed to get rolled in a basketball game, and we're still willing to watch it anyway. Exactly. So who cares? Like, who cares if they get smoked on TV by the top seed? But I think it just adds more intrigue, and it really, like, at the end, the true champion gets crowned, because you actually had to go through multiple like games to win the title.
100% on board with you. And the only, I guess, somewhat, so the way that they would do it is the top 4 champions that are ranked out of the top 4 conference champions would get a bye, and then there would be a play-in game for each other team. So the only, and I don't even want to call it a controversial thing, but is that Notre Dame has no way of getting a first round bye. Go join a fucking conference if you want a first round bye. Yeah. And to their credit, I didn't see if it was their AD or their head coach. They're like, yeah, that's fine. If we get in there, we'll play whoever we play, and we'll show up and win. And that's exactly the mentality that you have to have. And too many people just want things handed to them. And God, I hate Notre Dame so much. I hate Notre Dame probably about as much as I hate the Cowboys, so they can just shut up.
All right, so next up here on the podcast, we had so much fun last week with breaking down the Trey Lance and the Carson Wentz film. Terry had suggested that we do Zach Wilson, because Paul had said in our Facebook group, which you can find the details to down in the description below, that Zach Wilson had a really bad day at OTAs. Isn't that right, Paul?
Yeah, apparently he threw like 12 interceptions, and even if it's exaggerated, 4 or 6 is still a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of interceptions regardless. So we went out and we got some Zach Wilson, and we got some Pat Mahomes college film, because that was the big comparison, was Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and those guys coming out of college. So we thought, hey, let's get the game that everybody said Zach Wilson did the worst at, which was the Coastal Carolina game last year. Paul picked a couple plays, and then we got Patty Mahomes in college against Oklahoma, and we picked a couple plays from that as well. So again, I'm going to be Paul's bitch for this segment, much like life, and we're going to roll through. And Paul, go ahead and take the wheel here, bud.
All right. So the first thing I want to say is I think I've probably been, out of everyone that's on here, the most critical of Zach, because I don't think that he's going to do anything in the NFL, and I thought he was kind of a little bit of a baby back bitch in the way how he handled the end of college. But going through and watching the film on this game, he played a lot better than I thought he did. When you're actually watching how everything's going through and developing, and everyone said this was his worst game and blah blah blah. Let's remember this game was scheduled last minute. They were supposed to play, I want to say it was Utah, and then Utah had to sit out because of COVID protocols. So they get a game together last minute, travel across the country, go play Coastal Carolina, who's having a great season themselves at this point. Who's their, I want to say Hugh Freeze is their coach, and he's normally a very big coach, but because of things that happen in NCAA rule violations, he's playing in a smaller conference. So, but Zach he really ended up having a great game. And there's some errant throws. There's some stuff he has to work on, but I mean, he's a college third-year player at this point, so he's gonna have room for improvement. The biggest thing that came up here was at the end of the game, he came up 1.5 yards short, so they just ran out of time. This was just like the Rams Super Bowl when who was it? The Titans, the Rams and Titans, where that it was similar to that, 1.5 yards away from winning the game at the end. So I got to give a lot of credit to Zach because he went last second across the country against a defense that they disguise plays really, really well, as you're going to kind of see here in the footage. So yeah, just a lot of credit to him, but he still isn't ready to play in the NFL. And this is going to kind of show you why. So if you take a look, we've got the first play here. It looks like they're in a nickel. They've got four guys that look like they're going to rush. It looks like they've got 2 linebackers there in the middle, and then the rest are defensive backs. So if you take a look, you've got 3 down linemen. It looks like an edge rusher on the top of the screen. He's going to come down and be the 5th rusher. So the protection is going to slide up to the right, or up to the top of the screen, as you're going to see. And then what they actually do is he's going to break off and go out into the flats. They're in a zone coverage here. And then the linebacker that you see on the bottom of the screen, he's going to end up being that 4th rusher that comes through. So Brandon, if you want to go ahead and hit play.
Just make sure the audio's down so I don't get in trouble. Sorry. So again, we seem to be finding these clips where guys getting a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and that's because that's what you want to see. You want to see how a quarterback handles himself when he's got people in his face, lots of pressure here. You're going to see the same thing with Mahomes after Zach, in that a lot of the plays that I chose have pressure because anybody can sit back and throw it when there's no one in their face. But the special guys are the ones who are going to find a way to do it when you shouldn't. So that the linebacker down at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see he's going to deliver a hit. But this throw, it was terrible. It goes into double coverage. He's lucky that it wasn't intercepted. And that was it. There was a guy middle of the screen. If he would have hit his second read, who he would have had a nice completion. You can see kind of at the end right there. Yeah, wide open, going the other way. But instead throws into double coverage and incomplete pass.
Looks like he kind of just that rusher up the middle obviously was on him almost immediately, and then he could see the guy on the outside coming up, and then he just panicked and he just threw it to wherever, I guess maybe whoever number 5 is, maybe that's his like most trusted guy. He probably just tried to throw it out there like a prayer. Yeah.
But that's not what you want to see from someone who you just spent he got drafted 3rd, I think.
Second.
Even worse.
And you don't think that he's not going to have situations like this in New York with the Jets? I mean, this is absolutely going to be something that happens to him for sure.
Oh, yeah. Only you're going to be playing against better athletes, so you're going to throw more interceptions like he did in OTAs.
So what, I mean, you guys both did offensive line stuff in this one. And I mean, in the last week we had a center that got beat pretty bad. It looks like we're starting off this week with kind of a similar situation there. So when we get started here, it looks like he actually got a drop on him here with the center. So this was more, was it the guard or in the tackle here, right? So more the guard that got beat in this particular situation?
Yeah, it was the guard. And then because of the way the defensive line was set up at the beginning, the protection was shifting to the right or up towards the top of the screen. But then that extra 4th rusher actually comes from the bottom and did a great job of disguising it. He was almost 5 yards away at the snap. So then you're leaving him one-on-one with a tight end, and tight ends, they're not as good at blocking.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
The right tackle actually makes a good adjustment. He comes over and saves Wilson from getting blown up right off the shoot. But it looked like the center should have posted the guy on the right and helped the guard to get down on that guy, at least get a hand on him. But he just blew right by him.
I think it was just a miscommunication, because if they're sliding up, then the left guard there should have been one-on-one with that defensive tackle who's in the hole. And I think he just got beat.
It's just,
it's just ugly.
It's not good. But I mean, at least the tackle does a nice job recovering for him. But yeah, They definitely threw a nice little exotic look at him, and he definitely wasn't ready for that.
Definitely.
And their offensive line wasn't ready for it either, obviously.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. We've got our second play. We've got five down linemen or 3 down linemen and then 2 edge rushers. It looks like zone because you don't have anybody up close and everyone's just kind of standing around in an area of the field, which is typically what you're going to see. On the snap, you're going to see this one, the free safety who's right on the bottom of the logo right now. He's actually going to come up and blitz. So it's another really solid disguise that's built into the system. And then he's going to come in. This looks to me a lot like a Justin Fields play, as you're going to see, because he's going to roll around, go up to the right, and then he's going to try and throw an ill-advised little flick to the running back, and it's just a play that ends up going nowhere. But again, on this one, you've got really solid defense lined up and a quarterback who's just outclassed.
Okay, so you see, it looks like he came up, but then kind of paused for a moment because he was going to hit some big beef there.
At this point, he knows he's not going to get in, so he's just backing up, and he's essentially going to play a spy in case Zach decides to roll out to his left.
Okay, yes. So it's not necessarily business decisions. He's more just trying to make sure that Zach doesn't have the ability of getting out of the pocket.
Right. If you take a look, he's the outside man. So he's playing what's called contain. Contain means that you have to be the solid line where no one gets outside of you, because if people get outside of you, your team is screwed. It's going to be a huge play. So he's playing outside contain and making sure that no one gets outside of him. So he's not making he might be making a business decision, but he's doing the right thing by not doing it.
I think he was hoping that tackle wasn't going to come out for him.
How do I get a yard past the line? Can't get me.
But the left guard again gets absolutely, like, the guy just runs right by him. He barely gets a hand on him.
Yep. The left guard here, he struggled a lot in this game. And then you see him getting kind of swung around a little bit and then running.
I noticed this happens a lot. He tries these like no look passes like quite a bit. Sometimes he'll do it off to the running back. You'll see a lot where he'll look like in this direction and then he'll like shovel pass it like to the running back, like kind of around in here. I don't know why he decides to get so cute. Like those are the things that worry the most with me. It's like you have so much ability and arm talent with like arm angles and stuff. Why do you have to do the no look?
Well, so he should obviously not do a no look, because I've seen Patrick Mahomes complete a no look a couple of times, but you want him to look at where he's going to throw, but he's trying to bring the safety and the linebacker down so that the play opens up the middle a little bit. So it's done intentionally. He's not playing with good fundamentals because he's not bringing his head back and looking at where the ball's going. He's just trusting his ability as an athlete to make the play.
Okay.
He also sets up a play fake on no one. I don't know if that's intentional or not.
I don't know if you know this. It doesn't
make sense why it would be.
I don't know if you know this, but as a Packer fan, I watch Brett Favre do that a lot.
All right. Just like you could see, like the running back just goes to the right and he goes to the left, like, oh, here, let me fake this handoff. Wait, there's nobody there.
Yeah, someone opened up the wrong way.
He does that a couple times in these. There's another one that he does the same thing, and there's nobody even back there. I was going to actually ask you about that. So you think that's like a blown part of the play?
So one of two things happened. Either he opened up the wrong way and it's on him, or the running back thought that someone was going to blitz from that side and didn't think he'd have enough time to go for the fake, and he's trying to go for protection.
Yeah, you could be right, because maybe the running back should have come that way with the blitzer coming. That could have been on him to pick that up.
Yeah, I mean, there's no one on the right side that looks like he couldn't get around, so it looks like the running back went the wrong way. So one of them went the wrong way. He either opened up the wrong way or the running back went the wrong way.
I mean, maybe
the running back could have come up and picked that guy up.
You think so?
If he would have went the other way. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
well, the guy came through right away. He would have run into him.
At least slowed him down.
Yeah.
He made the business decision. I'm not getting hit by that.
Yeah, I just don't.
I mean, he was athletic enough to like lasso his way out of that sack, but at the same time, then
like they're just
not really smart to
so-
like just kind of like heave it.
It just seems to me that he
Upfield.
could have done that. Like, if you were going to go there, you could have done that much sooner.
Yeah, that's why it felt like a Justin Fields play to me, because I think we saw this at least twice on the plays that we reviewed of Justin Fields, where he would do this exact same thing, run around, scramble, and then throw something that he shouldn't have to someone. All right, so here we go on the third play, and this to me I think was his worst play of the game. He's got plenty of time, so you've got a pretty standard look on this one. You've got 3 down linemen, you've got the 2 edge guys. One of them's probably going to end up coming through, and this one, they've got really good protection. He's got plenty of time. He ends up waiting way too long before he throws, so this one, it ends up being an incomplete pass. Probably should have been intercepted, but this is a play that should have been a touchdown if he would have thrown it a half second or a second earlier.
So they actually had some protection on this one.
Yeah, they had good protection. He had plenty of space. No one has said that he doesn't have the arm talent, but on this one, he just waits way too long.
I mean, he had all day comparative to the other plays.
Yeah. That's why I picked this one, because he had plenty of time. And as you can see right there, I mean, you can argue that should have been caught, could have been intercepted either way, but the wide receiver has the defensive back beat. If he can make this throw a second earlier, walks into the end zone.
He hesitates,
Why
and you can
is-
see his feet
Yeah,
kind of like
he's-
walking. He
He
like
gets a little like heel clicky, right?
Yep.
he like takes extra like a couple extra steps he doesn't need to. He should have just loaded up on that first one right at the beginning.
I
It's
think
one
he
of
was
the
playing a
things-
little scared because he got hit so much in this game that, I mean, I think it's like in Tom
Right.
Brady's case. If you see him in games where he gets hit a lot, he's got the little footstep action going on and holds a little too long.
Footsteps. Boop.
That's a lot. Like,
Yep,
why do you?
it is.
That's a lot of resets.
Yes, and that's
Look
why.
how far he shuffles up from the line.
Yep.
So when he hits that 7-step drop, look how many extra steps he takes. Waiting.
We'll bring him back all the way back. It's like 6 extra steps.
So,
I'll even
and
give
this
him
is-
I'll even give him the first one. The second one he should have loaded up and let it go.
yeah,
You think he's aiming back shoulder or front shoulder?
he's throwing the ball as far as he can at that
He's just
point.
heaving it as far as he can heave it.
He's heaving it. The wide receiver's slowing down, and at that, because if he would have thrown it earlier, wide receiver's wide open up top, and that's a touchdown. But at this point, timing's gone, everything's broken, so he's not aiming for his shoulder. He's just aiming to throw it down the field at that point.
Okay, and since the wide receiver had to slow down, that's why.
Yeah.
It's so funny though, and like in college, you can just run the dude right over.
I love college football.
It's like comparatively in the NFL, they would have been like, nope, bring it back, bring it back.
All right, and then this next play, this is the last one that we have of Zach. This is right at the end of the game, or as they're about to start marching down to make their last stand. You've got 3 down linemen. You're playing a prevent defense, so you've got the 3 linemen, 1 linebacker, and then you've got 7 DBs on the field. So this is actually, it ends up being a pretty good play from him. He goes through his progressions really well. At the end, he looks off the safety, and then he ends up threading the needle. And this is the potential that you're looking at when you're drafting him, is he can do this, and he's got the arm strength. It's just putting it all together. And he had a rough time of it because he's playing a much better defense than he's used to.
And they had a long flight, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's cross country. I mean,
Yeah.
BYU, so you're going Utah all the way out to one of the Carolinas. I don't remember if they're in North or South.
So protection, not too bad.
You've only got three. You don't have to worry about protection in this one. I don't know why they kept in the running back to chip when you only have 3 people rushing.
I mean, he zings that ball. I'll give him
That
credit
was
for
a-
that. That was a hell of a throw.
Yeah,
That was a laser for sure.
exactly. And this is the potential that you got with him. If you can help him put everything else together, he's got the ability to make all the throws. You're going far side of the field.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a long throw because they're on the left hash and he's throwing it to the right side of the field.
And again, though, look how, again, clicky. Watch. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. I mean, he could have drove it in there before the defender even got up to him if he threw it a hair earlier. But it's they're in desperation mode at this point, so he's just trying to find anything. But I guess he does also don't want to get picked because then.
And I mean, he did a decent job looking off the safety. As far as the extra steps go, in this situation, I'm fine with it because you only have 3 people rushing, so you're not likely to get hit. You're trying to make the biggest play that you can because you've got 35 seconds left in the game. So I don't have a problem with the extra steps in this one.
Okay. I definitely hold deference to you guys. All right. So this is going to be getting us into the Patty Mahomes section. I thought this was an apt comparison because this is what everybody talked about coming out of when Zach Wilson was coming out of college. Now, for myself, it's been a little while. You know, Mahomes has been in the NFL for a minute now. So it's good to have a refresh on the good old days back in college for Mahomes. So with that in mind, go ahead. Take her away, Paul.
All right. So Mahomes really was a project, as you're going to kind of see here. Like, don't get me wrong. He was talented and he had arm speed and arm strength and everything in this, but he did need that year to sit out, which is what I think you're getting when you're drafting Zach Wilson. So I do think that it's an apt group of players to compare there. And this one, you're going to see there's 3 down linemen and an edge rusher, which is pretty consistent with what Oklahoma runs a lot of the time. Oklahoma likes to play with a lot of defensive backs on the field. They've got a lot of speed and a lot of talent because they're probably the premier Big 12, at least Big 12 South team, because Texas has been a wreck ever since Vince Young left the Rose Bowl there. So this one,
those were the days.
Sorry. On this one, no, you're good, bro. So you're gonna see the DN. He's gonna play a game, and he's in the bottom right now. He's gonna come through the middle, and then he's gonna get pressure on it. This is a play where you've got Patrick Mahomes looking like Justin Fields, looking like that bad plays that we saw of Zach. He's going to end up rolling out to his left, so the bottom of the screen. He's going to flip the ball over to his left hand and then use that to try to throw it back to the line of scrimmage. And this is the kind of stuff that was the risk with Patrick Mahomes, was doing plays like this. He should have thrown it away earlier, and he should have used his throwing arm in order to get it back there. Having said that, I'm pretty sure he's thrown a left-handed touchdown, if memory serves correctly, in the NFL. And I thought that was amazing, but this is bad football. You don't want to do this when you're learning how to play the position.
Again, on the run.
On the road again.
So sorry if other people don't like it, but for me, it's fun. Let's see where this went wrong.
Right. there as soon as the DN comes, because the
So-
guard's overcommitted to the left.
And he swaps over his backside
Yep.
and comes
so
in.
Yeah, he's playing,
inside stunt.
Yep. Perfect game to play on this one.
Perfectly set up too, because the edge guy's faster than that guard.
Yep.
It
And
was,
then
quite
left-handed.
quite the sale.
So, but this was the risk with Mahomes, was you didn't know if he was going to be Sam Darnold or if he was going to be Patrick Mahomes. He just
sees it pretty quick.
He does see it, but the bad decision, I don't think, is not seeing it. I think the bad decision is deciding to throw it with your left hand, because if that
These
doesn't
guys look like they're aware that something's going wrong too. Like the dude at the bottom is just like that friend that you have at the bar, and he's just like, oh shit, let me watch this go down. These guys are actually trying to help. Like, these are your good friends. This dude is that guy that just stands there and is like, yo, that shit was crazy.
Did y'all see what happened?
See, they turn around. They actually are like, oh, my QB, he needs me.
He's in trouble.
This dude's like, oh, they done fucked up.
And then there he goes. Just
One of the cheerleaders should have had that.
What even happened to that receiver? I mean, where did he go? He's not even around like the
That's true.
line of scrimmage. When he run away?
He stopped way back here, maybe? Is that the guy?
No, he was like right beyond the first down marker before. I think he just took off running a fly. Thinking
you see his foot at the very, very end there, I think. Right? Yeah, you see him pop in at the very
He
end.
ran downfield.
He was trying to make a big play, Terry.
I mean, I think crackback blocks are still illegal in college football. Like, come up and hit one of those guys.
No, no, business decision.
That's true. That's true.
That is true.
Come on, baby.
Tony, that cheerleader should have had it. All right.
All right, so you've got the defense on this play lined up the same way. Looks to be a dime in this one, where they've only got one linebacker in, and that would mean that they've got 6 DBs on the field. And it looks like they're playing zone in this one, but kind of hard to tell when you have Texas Tech speed, because you don't want to play too much press coverage unless you're one of the premier corners in the country, and Oklahoma generally doesn't have those. This is going to end up being a great throw over the middle. This is where you see the potential that Mahomes had, because there's 6 DBs on the field. He just delivers a bullet right in the middle. So go ahead and hit play, Brando.
They handled the rush, the 4-man rush, but it looks like they handled it pretty well.
Yeah, but I mean, he got his arms lined up perfectly. Form looks great. Delivers just a bullet right there, and then the receiver does the rest and makes a big play.
He had like a tiny little herky jerky there at the end, like a little, but he doesn't. It's not that little footsie crap that you see with Wilson, where it's like do. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's just kind of his. That was something he had to work on coming out of college, was his footwork.
Yeah, but his release, like
his release is
the
perfect.
release
but
is so quick.
Yeah,
like, it's out of his hand, even with that little bit of extra time he took. It still gets there quick.
Yes.
Yeah, I think what this shows to me is it like the fundamentals wise in college, Mahomes was ahead of Wilson, in my opinion. At least in form and things of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, he was, but in this one, this is still where his fundamentals can be improved.
Yeah, no, totally. But I think if you look at that other tape, it was just a hair more herky jerky, I guess I would say, for lack of a better term.
Right, but I don't have the numbers on it, but I also don't think that Mahomes got hit as much in this game as Zach Wilson did in the other game.
Good point.
Once you've been hit for a little while, people start to get a little herky jerky.
Yeah, probably a little bit better of a line, more than likely, I would say.
Yeah,
even though
yeah,
you're playing probably a higher level defense here with Oklahoma for sure than Coastal
definitely.
Carolina.
Yeah. All right. So on this one actually looks like we've got man coverage. You've got 3 of the DBs playing press coverage. You've got another one lined up. So it looks like you've got man to man on all 4 wide receivers, and you've got 2 safeties over the top. This is the defense that you want. 3rd and 9. So you've got a long play. You've got the help over the top, so you can play the press coverage, and you're just trying to stop them before they get that first down. This ends up being a 4-man rush with a spy, which is what you want because Mahomes did have some ability to run. I mean, he wasn't Baker Mayfield. Not many people were in college, but he does do that. He stands right in the pocket. He gets hit as he throws, but he doesn't step into the throw. This is a ball that should have been intercepted. There were also ended up being 2 wide receivers in the same area. So I don't know if it was bad play call or if the receivers ended up running the wrong route, but you've got 3 DBs to 2 wide receivers. Very poor throw as you're about to see. This one should have been at least intercepted, if not returned for a touchdown.
And does this defense purely just work because of the down?
As far as which part?
Just in purely layman's term here, obviously, like I said, I never played football.
Yeah.
It seems like you're leaving the middle of the field pretty wide open. So, I mean, I realize in this, it's 3rd and 9. They have to get down past the first down mark. So you don't really care as much about like right in this area because they have to get down in here.
Well, I mean, Texas Tech is a team that, I mean, they average like 50 or 60 passes a game. They're not a running team, so you don't have to worry as much about the middle of the field when you're playing man coverage because you've got everyone that's going to go through. The fact that this play ends up having a spy is why the spy ends up covering the middle of the field just in case anything breaks down. So this isn't something that you would see very, very often in the NFL because there's a lot of people that are too fast to go through and do something. But this works because of how Texas Tech runs their offense.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Ooh, yeah. Doesn't look like the coverage was too great on that one.
Oh,
So that number 10 should have had that interception and he would have had a chance to score on that play. But he didn't step into the throw.
oh, he had the what was that? The back coming out of the backfield, and then he had the guy coming across to where the spy is at.
Yeah, this should have either been a check.
Those would have been the best possible scenarios with this kind of pressure in your face.
100%. Either should have been a check down or he should have thrown it out of bounds where no one could have caught
Actually,
it.
the back end safety came up to cover that guy.
So really just a check down or toss away is really would have been his only options there.
Yeah, it should have been an interception, and this was part of what you were getting with Mahomes and why he wasn't a first round pick, which is why most of the quarterbacks taken in the first round this year shouldn't have been first round picks. They're projects, and there's nothing wrong with a project as we've seen. I mean, I think it's pretty much the consensus on our show that Mahomes is, if he doesn't get injured, going to be the one who goes down to be the GOAT outside of, I mean, he's not going to get as many rings as Brady, but he might at the end of the day be the best quarterback to play the game.
Statistically.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he was open either. Because it doesn't look like he got to the outside. It looks like he was still covered.
He didn't even have enough time to look that way.
Yeah. I mean, when you've got 4 receivers on the left side of the field, it's going to take a while to get all the way through the progressions. And with that much pressure, it wasn't going to happen.
Do you normally go like clockwise or counterclockwise, or does it matter? Like, do they change it up or?
For progressions.
Yeah, when you're going through your reads.
It depends on the play because it goes by the route. Like if you're throwing a fly, then you're gonna have to read that early. Otherwise, your wide receiver is gonna be outside of your arm range before you can do anything. So it all depends on the play and where the routes are being run.
Okay. You're
not gonna go from left to right back to left unless you have to.
I know that's not good.
Yeah. So
I just wasn't sure if they tended to pick one particular side, or like, you know how like you read a book from right to left. Like I didn't know if they tended to go one side.
What do you have against Hebrew? Do you not? What's wrong with that? You got a problem with reading right to left?
No. It's just the way culture taught me.
No, it's 100%. It varies depending on the play because it's going to go based on the routes that are being run.
Okay.
All right, and this is the last one that we have for Mahomes. You've got press coverage again. You're going to have a 3-man rush. There's a linebacker who's going to come down from the top of the screen, end up being the 4th rusher. Man coverage again. Ends up being a completed pass that shouldn't have been completed. In the NFL, this is an interception. And again, this shows why he was a project and why he didn't start his first year at all.
Ends up being a 4-man, right?
Yeah, there were 3 down, and then the linebacker was the 4th.
Now, as a former lineman here, what should this guy have done?
Which guy?
The tackle.
The right tackle?
Yeah, because it looks like, you know, as Mahomes is rolling out here, and you know this guy's kind of got some momentum on you. Is there anything you can do as the tackle there to try to overcome that?
Pretend you're falling down and see if you can take him down without getting the holding call. Sometimes it works when you get beat.
I mean, he could have stayed in the pocket a little bit longer because then the tackle would have had a chance to.
The back also should have chipped. The back didn't chip at all.
Oh yeah, he did. He just rolled right out. If he
ran
hit
right
up,
out, because when you're in pass protection, you're going to protect inside out. So the inside is what you want to protect most, so you can protect the pocket, and then you're going to start to go to the outside. So the back should have chipped on that play, but he didn't. Got Mahomes doing Rodgers things there.
Yeah.
But that throw in the NFL is an interception. You're throwing to where there are 2 defensive backs in the middle of the field across your body. That's an interception in the NFL.
Dude, he jumped up on that dude like a backpack.
Yep.
Backpack. Like he's going to take him to school.
Got your custom made Ohio defensive backpack.
It's a little Wentzian too. Like I remember a little bit of the running for your life. The yo, give me some help, get down the field.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and he's done this in the NFL too, but
totally. You don't have this guy. You got Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Well, and that was what I was going to say about the whole comparison between the two. Mahomes went to Kansas City with Andy Reid, who is well versed in how to, teach a quarterback how to play the game.
Agree to disagree. He's overrated. Terrible coach.
Okay. And he had a year to sit and learn with him at the same time. But in Zach Wilson's case, we know things don't usually go so well for quarterbacks that play for the New York Jets.
Yeah, and they
I don't
traded away Darnold. Who's his backup, or who's?
They don't have a veteran backup for the Jets there, and that was going to be my point. Is like you don't have the Alex Smith guy there so that therefore Wilson can sit on the bench and help learn from him. that person is not going to be there for them. They have no vet.
See, and that's something that Alex Smith is a phenomenal quarterback to learn from. He got replaced by a lot of quarterbacks that did pretty well, and he was decent himself. He was never going to be a superstar. He was never going to live up to that overall #1 draft. But I mean, his first 8 years in the league, he went through 7 different offensive coordinators, multiple different coaches, but he can really help teach quarterbacks how to develop. And that is something that Patrick Mahomes got, and not a lot of other ones do, as we're kind of bringing up here. I can't believe that you would get rid of Sam Darnold just to draft essentially another Sam Darnold and not give him anyone to learn from or compete with or anything. You're being set up to fail. And I feel bad for the kid. I think he's a douche, but I can still feel bad for the situation that you're going into.
He's a lot smaller than Sam Darnold is too. I mean, Sam Darnold's like 6'5", like 240. This guy's like 6'2", 215.
Does anybody know if Zach Wilson's had mono?
This kid, and I mean, maybe anyone who goes to New York until they change over their leadership, they're just being set up to fail. And that's not a position that you want to be in. I mean, good for him. First round pick, you're set for life if you don't screw up with your money or anything. But I mean, a lot of these kids just want to compete. They want to play. They want to win. They especially don't want to lose, because I don't know about you, Terry, but for me, losing was always worse than winning was good. So like it felt worse to lose than it felt good to win. And I think that's a lot of the mentality, that you have people who spend their entire lives winning, because obviously they won in high school. They wouldn't be showing up at big colleges. At colleges, a lot of the time they win more often than they lose. And then you get drafted really high, and you have to learn how to lose. It's not something that comes natural to a lot of people who just want to win.
I think that's true. I remember probably most of my losses in life, shall we say, and professionally, like the jobs I've been fired from, probably more than I remember how good it felt to get hired at certain jobs. Like we remember our losses so much more readily sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that's just the way that, I mean, I don't know how people are who don't play sports, because I played different sports my whole life, so that's just kind of the people I grew up around, my friends and that kind of stuff. But I mean, losing just sucks so much, and I don't think I had it as bad in baseball as I did in football, when it was just driven into you just how much losing sucks. So I don't think that there were other sports that I played where it mattered as much, but losing as a football player, that just blows.
Speaking as a baseball guy, I always hated losing. I don't care if it was when I was in college, we were playing like fraternity wiffle ball tournaments. Like I showed up to play. Like, I don't care. I might have had a cigarette hanging out of my mouth at the time, but I was running 100%.
Have you seen like the World Wiffle Ball Championship things that they've done? Like the way that those pitchers throw is crazy. Like I saw a pitch, and I swear it went like 10 feet to the right past where the batter was, and then came back, left the batter just holding the bat in his hand, didn't swing, and it was a strike. I was like, wow, that just sucks.
Wow.
I would get so pissed.
What do you even call that? That's like well past a slurve at that point. That's crazy.
The old Bugs Bunny pitch. I
don't know. It went to the left. Like it only went left. So maybe call it the NASCAR.
I see what you did there. So we've definitely been having a lot of fun with all the breakdowns. Definitely let us know in the comments section below if you guys have been enjoying it as well. Also, if you have any ideas for other things that you'd like to see us break down, Paul and Terry are a little more defensive minded in their breakdown, so just keep that in mind if you do have any wishes. I'm sure Paul can throw together something if he has to, but if we're looking for the real in-depth stuff. Is that not far-fetched to say there, Paul?
Which part? That I don't know offense as well as I know defense?
Well, you guys played defense more than you played offense, right?
Played both ways. I always liked defense more. So I think it was more where my heart was. It was more what I learned about. Because, I just like, so in football, this was always, at least my opinion, like being a lineman and everything. I mean, being on offense, you're kind of cheating. You know the snap count. You know exactly where to go. Being like on the defense, you're all reactionary, so you have to be a better athlete to do something that's more of a challenge. So I think I just always enjoyed the challenge of, hey, I got to know where he's going to go, get off the block, and then find the ball. So I think that's just why my heart went more to defense. It was harder.
Yeah, same. Offensive line was fun to play, because there was opportunities for pulling and pancakes and kick out blocks and that kind of stuff, which is good. Pass protection, it's not that great. Just get the guy, hold him up, or don't let him get the quarterback. But on defense, the idea of beating the guy in front of you and then going and hunting his quarterback down and getting a chance to like just lay a hit on him, or even hit a running back and have a chance of like getting the ball out, that's more exciting. The hunt's more exciting to do in football for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just primal. It's just like, all right, now where is it going? I'm gonna rip someone's fucking head off.
Yeah. I had the luxury. I got to play D tackle, D end, and middle linebacker. So I got to play like a lot of the savage positions and get to just go full steam. And it's, even if you don't get it, even if you don't get to the guy, at least just blow a fullback into next week. I mean, they're not part of the game anymore, but in high school they were, or just blow a tight up, knock a tight end up back into the backfield and have run him right into his running back, and then just cause a whole bunch of mess. Even that stuff was more fun.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible how much the game has changed over the last 30 years. I mean, there's no more fullbacks. Tight ends are mainly wide receivers now. Everyone's so much more athletic. No one who's in their right mind cares about running backs because you don't need them as much anymore. And look at Ty Montgomery for the Packers. You just take a failed slot receiver, throw him in the backfield, and occasionally he'll carry the ball.
Remember the 5-2 defense was huge back in the day because there was so much more running game back then. It was all about different running attacks. And now the 5-2 is like
dead.
Nothing. I mean, it's goal line pretty much.
Goal line. And remember 6-man goal line? Those were fun plays. Everyone just go forward and hit someone as hard as you can.
Yeah. Pick a gap and just try and blow the whole thing up.
Pick a gap, get low, and just take out as many people as possible.
Yeah.
For the layman like myself, that would be the Engage 8 in Madden.
See, Brandon, you're teaching us stuff too.
That's a great play, but sometimes you get burned with that one.
Yeah, you better hope that running back's coming up the middle, because otherwise you're cooked.
Yeah. They don't catch you with that quick slant over the middle, because then that guy's running forever.
Oh yeah, I always did the fake running back up the middle, and I'd hit the tight end, the second tight end on the left, coming up over up over the defense there. That's where I always went with that.
I think my favorite trick play in Madden was the fake spike and then throw it to someone.
Oh man, how long has it been since that's been in there?
I don't know. I haven't played in a long time.
It only works if you're Dan Marino, dude.
That's true. That's true. I almost went back and tried to find us some more Madden stuff for this week, but I thought we'd take a break from the Madden stuff this week. We had a lot of breakdown stuff, so I'm excited to see what we can evolve this into in the future. I know we've been talking and planning about some things in the beginning of the show to make sure that we're a little more cohesive with everything. So I think, if anything, these breakdowns are just going to keep getting better and better. So thank you, Paul, and thank you, Terry, for the work you guys put in for this. I do appreciate it, and we'll see where everything goes with next week for sure. So thank you guys again for coming out. Any final words before we wrap her up?
Well, there's just one. I want everyone to brace themselves, because at some point I am going to have to break down the Fail Mary, because it was the worst referee call ever, and it hurts my soul.
The most absurd plays of all time.
Have you ever seen a single play end like a work stoppage before in any sport? Like, all right. What do you guys want? Here's a blank check. Just don't show it to me. Just fucking take it to the bank.
Oh man, yeah.
I was gonna say, but my last point was gonna be Zach Wilson. I'm gonna say his NFL projection is gonna be Derek Carr, because he's gonna get hit and beat up out of the league.
Do you mean David Carr?
Or sorry, David Carr. My
mistake. We were about to fight.
I said David Carr. You know who I meant, though.
I didn't. That's why I had to ask.
So then you're telling me that as of right this minute, Zach Wilson could beat Dak Prescott in an QB accuracy game.
Hands down.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think between the three of us, if you averaged our accuracy, that we could beat Dak Prescott in an accuracy competition.
That might be true. He could definitely throw it further, I'm sure.
I didn't say you could throw it further. I know my limitations. I could probably throw it like 40, maybe 45 yards.
Paul's like, I'm going to hollow out this football, put a Nerf inside.
Nah, like the old...
He goes to throw it and you hear... Boom! Remember those old ones that had that whistle to it?
I actually got one.
The Vortex.
I actually got one of those for Christmas this year.
Did you really?
I was like, I was like, yes, this is awesome.
Oh, God.
That's so many memories are coming back to me now. What were you going to say, Terry?
I was going to say, we could beat him in that... like the one that's on like the boardwalk, like the arcade game, the one with like the couple of holes, like, and you gotta hit the things that pop up. Yeah.
All right, so
fun to do.
The Muffed podcast will lay down a flat challenge to Dak Prescott anytime he wants to take us on in the QB accuracy contest. We'll do it. We'll put up a couple cases of Dew for you there, bud. We know how much you Cowboys fans, like Mountain Dew.
Yes, I'm 100% in, but I'm sick that week. I can't make it. So.
Just letting you know now.
So, I'm feeling sick. I figure I'm on. No, it's not safe to show up.
Well, again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in this week. I always love tuning in for the laughs myself. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe, hit that little bell. It'll let you know when we drop a new episode. We got, I think, 6 new subscribers in the last couple of weeks. So let's just keep up the momentum. If you're out there, if you enjoyed what you heard, hit the button. It helps us out. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Take it easy.
Let's see if he can do that. And what happens on 2nd and 2 at the 26? My guy waves out. Just like Chicago. It's the Chicago nightmare all over again. Zeke waves out. Take me out, coach.
Oh, we ain't gonna talk about this.
Take me out. It's my turn. It is. You told me it was my turn.
You can talk all that you want to, yell and scream. You lost.
It is my turn.
You lost the game.
It's my turn.
Take as long as you want. You're still lost.